Mr. Speaker, members, this just instructs the conference committee to keep the Amendment 64, which is Rider 86, in Article 2, Section B13.
Mr. Speaker, his voice was not being projected when he first started talking. Would he just speak up so we can hear him?
I instruct the Conference Committee on House Bill 1 to include in the Conference Committee report on House Bill 1 language of Article 2, B13, House Engrossed Version, Amendment number 64, Rider 86.
Mr. Speaker.
Mr. Gallego, for a purpose.
Will the gentleman yield for a question?
Mr. Chisholm, do you yield?
I yield.
Mr. Chisholm, what does that, do you have the copy of that rider? Could you tell us what that rider deals
I
with?
can tell you what the rider does. I don't have the rider here with me, but it prioritizes the funding for women's health.
It prioritizes the funding for women's health?
Yes.
Is that the discussion that we had? Didn't we? How different is this from the discussion that we had earlier with the Miller motions to instruct?
Well, I wasn't involved in Mr. Miller's motion to instruct.
Didn't Mr. Miller's motion to instruct already cover? No?
No.
So what is the difference between Mr. Miller's motion to instruct and what yours covers?
Mine's better.
So you're not taking any money out of any program with your...
Yeah, this prioritizes the money to go to FQHCs and in the women's health care. So the FQHCs, the clinics in a row, get the money first.
Okay.
Ms. Morrison, for a purpose.
Mr. Speaker, will the gentleman yield?
I yield.
Chisholm, yield.
So basically, Representative Chisholm, this is just prioritizing. We can put the money back into the women's health programs, but this was prioritize how you spend it and which clinics get the funding.
Yeah, you use the women's clinics, which gets the lion's share of the money. So the clinics get that. Baylor University Clinic gets some, and then FQHCs, which are located almost in every district around the state before. So that's the.
And it's not removing any money from the programs.
It does not remove any money from the program.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Chisholm.
Mr. Speaker. Mr. Vesey, for a purpose.
Gentleman yield.
Mr. Chisholm, yield.
I yield.
Mr. Chisholm, can you elaborate a little bit more on the women's health care programs for those of us that aren't quite as familiar with them as you are?
Representative Sheffield raised a point of order. Gentleman's time expired.